We're at the end of February. The first rays of sun are filling our valley of the far north again, for the first time since November. The light is soft, tender, as if the sun just woke up from a long sleep. The land is in transition from the unmoving stillness of winter to the swaying life of spring. Everything that was trapped in the cold hands of winter begins to break free, tinting my world with forgotten sounds, colors, and reliefs. I feel it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye to a dear friend. I know he'll be back, but he's one of my closest. The one I connect with most. The one I feel most like myself with. Meanwhile, he leaves me with friends whom I also love dearly, but to whom I relate less. The days are getting longer so rapidly. I can't believe that in only 2 months, I won't be wrapped by night anymore. As every year, the land changes. Yet,
This is so weird. Yeah, this winter has really been such a mess. I don't know. It's been only our second winter here, and so I only have one other winter of comparison. But from what I talked about with our neighbors and the people living here, this was clearly not a normal winter. It's been very warm. We had like lots of storms of rain, and the temperatures really struggled to get low. And every time I wanted to make a video about like the season or the arrival or the settling of winter, there's been like a bunch of rain coming up, or the opposite. Like now I wanted to make a video about the winter being over, and yesterday it snowed like crazy. Now everything is still pretty much covered with snow. So yeah, it's been pretty chaotic. We had a really fair amount of snow around November, I think, but then again it kind of alternated with rain, which made the level of snow just go down gradually over the days when it rains. But then, as it's not fall, it's not spring, so obviously at some point it gets cold again. And at that moment, that whole layer that has started melting but not really, and that has become more dense, kind of freezes completely, and it just becomes that big bunch of ice that becomes very slippery. if no snow falls on top of it. So it's been a bit easier to walk around the mountains, because when that doesn't happen, like the previous winter, when there's just meters of snow, you just get buried everywhere. Even with the snowshoes, it's like almost impossible to walk. So that has been a bit easier, but it still felt very weird. Yeah. But yeah, it's been like this the whole winter, basically. When you thought that you could go and enjoy the snow, then it would rain, it would mess everything up. And when you thought that it was over, that there wouldn't be any more snow, then you get some fresh puff again. So, and we had some really cold temperatures. Like we had a few days at minus 20, 25 Celsius degrees, but it clearly wasn't like last year. Whereas last year we really had like full weeks of minus 15, minus 20. This year we had like one day it was minus 20 and the other it was minus 5. And it's just like, depending on where you live, that's still cold, but it's still like a 15 degree of differences between, like, in 24 hours you can go from minus 20 to minus 5 or even 0, and that's such a huge delta and a huge gap of temperature. And you might have seen that I've put a little skirt on lineup. He's had a little coat. It's been complicated to do like slow walks and, you know, just being out there and enjoying, because he's became pretty cold. So he's been wearing his little skirt for a while now. Almost every time we go out, because like otherwise he's shaking and he's really, you can see that he's not comfortable. So but she's been super chill. Like you can really see the difference between polar dog and, because she's got husky in her mix, clearly. And yeah, it's been much easier for her. The storms we had were pretty violent, I must say, with a lot of strong winds. A lot of trees and branches have fallen down. And it was mostly like rainstorms. Not really, we didn't really have had snowstorms this year. So yeah, I think it increased even more like the weirdness of the winter. Yeah, nature has suffered from it, but it is what it is. And I like it. Like, I remember back in Switzerland, until recent years, they were used to really maintain the forests, but like over cleaning them just so that they look pretty, you know, that there are no dead trunks, no dead trees, and no messy branches on the floor, etc., etc. And actually they've seen that it was starting to kill the wildlife, because like it was taking away all the shelters for the animals, and yeah, just basically what was required for forest life, I guess. And so it's pretty recent that now they're leaving the forest a little bit more natural. Here it's like, it's raw. It's just what it is. And nature is scarred by the storms, by the strong winter, by the huge amount of snow, and you just can't avoid it. And I love that. Yeah, I just love those contrasts and huge changes. And even if I say that it's been a weird winter, it's still been a winter. Like for most of the parts of the world, I guess that's already a strong and long winter, even if for here it hasn't been that much. I'm still probably over 50 centimeters above the ground now because of the remaining snow, and everything is still pretty white, even though it starts blending more with the colors of the trees that start being free again, the sky that has become much brighter, has this deep and bright blue at the same time. So yeah, tell me in the comment. I'm really curious to know how this winter's been where you live, and if it's been a normal one, if it's been a cold one, or if it's been a warm one as we had here, and yeah, not so wintry, I'd say. Yeah, that's a beautiful day.
I felt a bit behind lately, as if I wasn't able to keep up with the arrival of the early spring. I guess not really knowing where I stand with this weather hasn't helped me feel grounded and let go of this season that will eventually come to an end. I just love these long, cold, and dark winters here that invite to slow down and to look inward. It's a place I feel safe in. And I feel I'm not quite ready yet to leave it for the activity of spring and summer. But that's the thing with nature. We don't get to choose. No matter how hard the modern world wants us to believe we can live disconnected, we cannot. And me, forcing to remain in hibernation while everything gets back into motion, will only lead to uneasiness. So I start moving.